Hello and thanks for watching this video focused on differentiating QuickBooks Online Classic or the old version or maybe the current version you're using now with what is coming out and actually being rolled out now to those that are signing up new to QuickBooks Online. We're just calling it QuickBooks Online New or the new QuickBooks Online. Over the next couple months, if you create a company file subscription for QuickBooks Online for a client either from QuickBooks Online Accountant using the plus new company file tab, or if the client just goes to the website, you will start seeing some clients in the new QuickBooks Online. So I'm trying to bridge the gap, if you will, between the old and then the new, and eventually, by this time next year anyway, everyone will be on the new version. But let's cover the old one first. We're going to look basically for navigation and access points, and I know you're going to be able to see a radical departure from what you know of QuickBooks Online right now that should really speak to efficiency, speed, just overall slick workflow for both your clients and you as the accountant user when you're accessing your client's QuickBooks Online company file. So I'm in a Simple Start. The SKUs stay the same. Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, Larry's Landscaping, and I'm in the old view. And the navigation was such that you would, you have your menus and then you have sub-menus within those menus, and they were horizontal. I know they were vertical for a while, so maybe you're coming from a really old QuickBooks Online. I think it was just called QuickBooks Online Edition, but kudos to that. That's excellent. You're still doing it. And those were vertical drop downs, and you probably had a chance to move it to horizontal, so we gave you more real estate. And you had the home tab. If you wanted to get the little map, you click getting started and it'll bring up the actual map that shows kind of money in and money out. Let me get the click map there. There we go. I don't think I have any data in here. Anyway, this is very old school, if you will. But and the Simple Start doesn't have all the features of Essentials and Plus, but still, you just click on the transactions. It would bring up the transaction documents. You had to use the back button, or you could, right-click either duplicate or reload tab for. I'm using Firefox here, and it would launch another tab, and then you could go to Customers. And it supports dual monitors. So that's still in play, whether you're using QuickBooks Online Classic or QuickBooks Online New. But that was kind of the getting around, if you will, the old map. I'll go back to the home. And here you have the to-do list and your messages you could leave for your accountant or for other people logging in, people at the business there. Quick links for quick transactions. And then you have a company menu for sales tax, chart of accounts. All right, the list kind of looked like this. Let me just show you what the chart of accounts looked like. And I'll go ahead and just edit a particular account. And I'll try to go into a few key critical windows, including transactions, so you'll be able to really notice the difference between the old QBO, which I'm in now, and the new QuickBooks Online. So edit account window, there you go, create chart of accounts. And then of course, sales tax preferences, that was a big one. How do you want your QuickBooks Online file to behave? What do you want to turn on for products and services or sales form entry or vendors and purchases, if you will? So the preferences or company settings are there. Under the company menu, you also have the ability to manage users. And this is where you'd come to go ahead and invite your accountant. You can actually have up to 2 accountants, right? And that's going to be similar too. You're going to have these tools and windows in the new QuickBooks Online, but again, it has changed a lot. But let me continue on with the old QuickBooks Online. Here's the activity log, all your lists if you want, customers menu, right? So you have customer center, sales receipt, income list, invoice. Let's look at what a transaction looked like in the old QuickBooks Online. I'll bring up a recent one. And this is what most forms look like, whether it's an invoice, a bill, a check, things like that. Receive payment, course, statements, and then your products and service list, another list there. You can edit those lists. Let's go to the vendors. So, manage bills obviously was for Essentials, but another way to show, say, a cost transaction, let's just go to write a check so you can at least see what that form looked like. Okay, and this is the old QuickBooks Online. Of course, payroll's an add-on. You can set that up. And then your reports. And we give you some canned reports here. Some of the key reports we think you would need, memorized reports, of course, and the reports list. Now, obviously, Simple Start doesn't have as many reports as Essentials and Plus do, but this is kind of what the reports list looks like. Okay, with the old QuickBooks Online, which many of you are probably using and many of your clients are still using. Again, we're rolling out the new QuickBooks Online with a percentage of new signups or new subscriptions. Okay. And then you have the App Center to hook up third-party apps to your QuickBooks Online file. So this is kind of the old QuickBooks Online that's still going on. Right? It won't be completely replaced yet. Definitely over the next year, everybody will be on the new. Okay. For right now, you're going to have, and let me speak to the accountants here. For right now, you're going to actually be supporting clients on both the old version of QuickBooks Online and the new. Now let's jump over to the new version, shall we? So very different. Okay. I'm going to show a couple key things here. The home page. All right. It shows my income, and I can drill in on overdue invoices and see my payments for the last 30 days and any open invoices. It brings me into that transaction center. I can see my expenses with a chart or a graph, and I can also drill in there as well. So I scroll down, there's a P&L, which I can drill into. Notice on the right, I can go right into my downloaded transactions, the bank accounts, and we formulated that anything in red really needs attention, whether it's an overdue invoice or whether it's transactions that need your attention, or all the activities here on the right. There's kind of a storyline going out through every day that you're in QuickBooks Online. So I can just look at invoices, or I can just look at payments, if you will, or I can look at expenses or any estimates, and then I can drill in on the actual transaction to bring it up. The way to enter data quickly into QuickBooks Online new, and I'm going to go through the left-hand navigation panel. You're probably noticing that we took away the company and banking menu, so I'm going to show you where those access points are. But if you click the Quick Create icon, see this little candy bar at the top of the program? I'm going to go through each one of these icons. I'll go through the gear icon, and then we'll go through the left navigation panel. Okay. This is going to show me all the transactions that I can enter in QuickBooks Online. It's great for the shoebox data entry. You just get a list of receipts, right? Or you don't have to remember, now do I got to go to the customers menu and then click create invoice, or do I go to the income list, or they go to vendors, enter bill? It's right under here on pretty obvious columns. Customers, I have the ability to go to the invoice, receive payment, estimate, credit memo, sales receipt, refund receipt, delayed credit, and delayed charge. And then for vendors, expense, check, bill, pay bills, etc. Employees. And then what if you want to do a bank deposit or a transfer or a journal entry or a customer statement? All this, whether you're the accountant user going in, and I'll show you that view in a second when we go access a new QuickBooks Online file from QuickBooks Online Accountant, or you're just the actual client, the end user yourself can just be living on this Quick Create tab to enter transactions. There's also a little clock icon which will show your recent transactions in the file, and you can click more to look at a whole list. And you can drill on this, it'll actually open up the transaction. And then finally, you can do a search for transactions. I'll do an advanced search here, either by number or name or what have you. And I'm just going to click search for all transactions. And it's going to list all the transactions. So the windows and lists look a lot cleaner. There's more height in the rows, if you will. Font's a lot clearer to read than in the older QuickBooks Online. So all this stuff is really important, and I'm going to actually drill in on a bill. You just click on one and it'll bring up a transaction, the bill, so you guys can actually see this. The transaction forms, and this is how most of them look in the new QuickBooks Online, look very different. All right, so here's a bill. I can go ahead and click make payment. We try it to make it so that the end user or your clients are actually given breadcrumb to the next logical transaction or event in this bill's life. I go and make a payment. But I'm going to show you other ways to see it that's even clearer, but even on transactions themselves for that. And then you go ahead and click, well, let me show you a few other things. You can make recurring. When you click the more here, I can look at a transaction journal, audit history, copy or delete, cancel it. Of course, it supports the document attachments like the old QuickBooks Online did as well. And then you can save in new or save and close. When you X out, it brings me right back to the window that I was on. I don't have to hit the back button or something like that. It's literally like a veil over the window that you were on, which I find very important. I've noticed that in the old QuickBooks Online, I did duplicate the tabs a lot. So I'd have multiple tabs in Google Chrome, for example, is what I like to use with QuickBooks Online. And I would peel the windows off and put them on another monitor, and that's still supported here. I can still go to Chrome and right-click duplicate, and it's going to load into another tab, and I can peel it off, and supports dual monitors, I had mentioned. However, what I like about this is I'm not doing that a lot because I'm on the transaction I'm on. When I X out or save and close it, it brings me to the place I was last. All right, very important there. Let's look at the gear icon real quick. Now you asked, well, where are all the company settings? Preferences, manage users. How do I get there? Importing data, reconciliation. It's all here under the gear icon. So company settings will bring me to my preferences, which you guys will see and you'll recognize from the preferences I was just looking at in the QuickBooks Online old file. Also my chart of accounts, The lists, again, more headroom, if you will, a lot easier to see. And you can drill in and very similar. Let's go ahead and edit that account just so you can see it. So it's been cleaned up a lot, I think. Visually, very pleasing program. Other particular settings and things you might want to know. To get to all lists is here, your products and service lists, recurring transactions. Here I can go reconcile a bank account if I will, and choose a particular account to go ahead and reconcile and start that. As well as importing data from the desktop. I know it's from the company menu at the very bottom in QuickBooks Desktop, but it's a place where you can start. Set up budgets, the actual activity log, which will show all the transactions and events of everybody signing in and signing out. This is also in QuickBooks Online Old and New, but I'm just showing you where you can access it. So you have your tools, plus you can manage your subscription, go to Manage Users to invite the accountant. Again, we took the company menu and moved it under the gear icon, but we also took many options and features under the banking menu. You also see that one's gone too, and put it under here, like reconcile, okay? And then, of course, when you click the Quick Create, like to make a deposit or a funds transfer, right? And here's where journal entry is. Okay, so between the Quick Create icon, recent transactions in the search, and then you have the gear icon that'll access to all of your tools. Okay. Now let's look at the left navigation panel, because much like your experience with QuickBooks Desktop or the older QuickBooks Online, there's always a couple, three ways to get to a place from the new QuickBooks Online as well. So the home page we went over. Customers this is where the income list is, right? It's not under the customers menu, if you will. It's just you click on customers and you're on the customer center. At the very top of the customer center, you have your income list, which goes from color-coded for workflow. I have estimates, unbilled time and cost that I can turn into an invoice. How many open invoices do I have? Here's all my overdue invoices, and I can just go ahead and click on that. It'll actually bring me to the invoice, actually to the customer center for that, and then I can click on the overdue invoice. I can go ahead. The next logical thing is to receive a payment. When you're in the actual true customer center, you actually drill in on a customer, as you saw me there, and it'll list all the transactions. You can create new transactions from here as well. Let me actually go back. And also here, I can click receive payment, and this would bring me to the receive payment window. And so you guys can see what that looks like. Literally, the veil falls down with the receive payment window, and I'm here, and I can choose the particular, payment method. I'm going to deposit undeposited funds, or you can put it in the checking account or what have you. It's linked to this particular invoice. You can put in a memo if you will, and even attach a document if you like, and click save and close, or save and new if you want to do another one. I'm going to go ahead and click save and close. It'll bring me right back. Even tells me that the payment was saved, right? So that invoice is now closed. Brings me right back to where I left off to start the process. Okay, I love that. You don't have to hit the back button, and this is why I'm not really using multiple tabs, but you could. But I'm finding that I'm just not needing to go there, that it's fast enough to get around and to navigate. So that's kind of your customer section. Then you have the vendor section. Also has a money bar, shows my open purchase orders and open bills, overdue bills, which I can drill down and bill payments I've made recently. For Brosnan Insurance Company, I have one overdue bill for $241.23. It's important. I can make a payment, but sometimes, and again, under the action column, it takes the user to the next logical event, right, in the workflow, next logical transaction. I have an overdue bill. Sometimes, though, your clients will just go write a check, right? And you don't want to double book the expense. So I'm actually going to choose Boston Insurance Company, and we call it the drawer. I'm on a check number 71. I'm about to write the check, but literally the drawer, you saw it come out from the right of my monitor, and it's reminding me that I've already written a bill, okay? So it's kind of a red flag telling me, okay, I should probably go add the bill. Now watch what happens to the check number 71 when I click add. Changes it to a bill payment, number 71. And this is exactly what you would want to happen for your client, is if you were there reminding them how to do it, okay? And then I can go ahead and X out, and I'll click yes, and it brings me back to where I left off. And there's some batch actions on these vendors and customer centers, sort by name, find one, etc. And then you can drill into the actual vendor or customer to see a list of transactions. And again, it's always going to have the next step for the action on the right. All right. Now let's go to transactions. I talked to you about Quick Create, where you have all the transactions you can enter right there. But you can also go to the sales transaction page, which has its own money bar too, and basically it's just sales transactions. I can go here as well if I want to create an invoice or a payment or an estimate or a sales receipt. And I can filter the window by type of transaction, status, date, and particular customer. All right, and again, the action column will tell me what to do next depending on what the actual type is. Same with expenses. I can see all my expenses here and what the next action would be and who the payees are. And you can just drill down to actually bring up the transaction itself. It's going to fall on top of where you were. You can review it and look at more, or maybe you want to make it recurring. Maybe I want to look at a transaction journal. It's going to bring me to a report on that transaction. And then I can go back to transactions. And then, of course, registers. People want to know how to get to the register. So you go right there under transactions to registers, and I can go ahead and highlight or double click. I'm going to go ahead and click go to register. And it'll bring me to the register itself. Right? And that left navigation panel remains, and I can keep going. Online banking, of course, the downloaded transactions. That can be reached from either clicking banking, or if I go back home, I can click on 33 transactions. It'll bring me into the downloaded transaction section. So I can do it that way or go from here, transactions to banking. Okay, and you can print checks there. Now, how about reports? So we have the same reports as you're used to in the old QuickBooks Online, and they're broken up into 4 sections. So here are the recommended reports we give you, but any reports you frequently run will be listed here. Your memorized reports will go here, and then you'll have the whole report list here, and we've changed the names of the buckets the reports are in. So, accountant reports, for example. Go back to all reports, and I can look at, sales. And it divvies them up, I think, instead of just by the reports menu that we had in the old QuickBooks Online, much better because it makes more sense and even gives a blurb of what the reports are going to show you. I just think it's much more intuitive, and the speed of this and workflow efficiencies just far outweigh the old QuickBooks Online. I hope you guys are getting that from this demo. And then finally, sales tax. Right, both QuickBooks Online Old and New support multiple sales tax items and paying sales tax and running reports. So when you click sales tax, you'll be brought here, and I can go ahead and record a tax payment if I want, or review a report. And then here's the App Center, where I can hook up a third-party app to expand the functionality of QuickBooks Online. And if you do hook up with payroll, I can go ahead and click on employees, and then I actually have, my employees here, and I can add new employees just to play around, if you will. I mean, you'll have to actually activate the payroll itself once you're in your own file, but it's very simple, and it follows the same type of user interface as everything else. Customer, vendor, employees, transactions are all very consistent, if you will, harmonized. Okay, harmony is a great word for this. So these are the basics differences, the critical differences with user interface, workflow, and clickability, I should say, between the old QuickBooks Online and the new QuickBooks Online. Now, I'm going to pause for a second, and let's take a look at it from the accountant perspective when you're accessing either an old or new client, an old or new QuickBooks Online client using QuickBooks Online Accountant. So no matter if you're invited as the accountant user or one of the 2 accountant users that you can have per QuickBooks Online company file now, to either a client that has the old QuickBooks Online or the new QuickBooks Online, you are going to be accessing the files from your QuickBooks Online accountant list, client list, or dashboard. There's some interesting things in here to point out if you don't know already. And for example, Joe's Landscaping is the new version I'll show you, and Woods Lawn Mowing is the old version of QuickBooks Online. So I'm supporting both, and I'll be supporting both for a while until everybody has the new QuickBooks Online. Okay. My company is the QuickBooks Online Plus subscription we give to you guys. You can use and bring over your own firm file from desktop or whatever for training. But if you just want to see the new look and you don't have any clients that have the new QBO yet, click the Try It here. It'll launch a window where you can get into the sample company file, the one I was just in, Craig's Landscaping. And that actually is brand new. Looks like the new QuickBooks Online. Okay. So soon, like I say, you're probably looking around this window as I've been talking, and you see the plus new QBO company there. Whether you add a client this way or your client actually goes to the QuickBooks Online website and signs up for a subscription there and invites you as the accountant user, you'll see them here on this list. And more your clients will have the new QuickBooks Online look and feel. So it's important to point out that clicking on the sample file will help you, learn more about it. just so you're ready to support a client. Because, like I say, the company and banking menus are gone. We've moved the tools around, although I really think that when you're in the new QuickBooks Online, it's pretty easy to click on the gear menu or that quick create, right? And you get used to it pretty quickly. I found the old QuickBooks Online takes a while to rearrange the menus, and you're clicking a lot more to get around. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Woods Lawn Mowing right now. And it opens me up to my Accountant Center. Again, this is because my client has an old version of QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Online Classic, right? So it doesn't have any of the new user interface, right? We've already gone over this in that simple start file I had, but I have an Accountant Center with key tools that are not standard in QuickBooks Online, so batch classify transactions, make adjusting journal entries, voided deleted transaction report. The reconciliation grid is fantastic, as I can undo a reconcile just with a click of a button, which is not something standard to QuickBooks Online. And there's several other tools right off invoices you guys will recognize. We try to inspire people to, hey, you can click new window to open up a new tab, But again, with the new QBO, I'm finding I'm not really needing more windows, although it supports it and does support dual monitors. And that's essentially kind of the navigation and where the tools are from an accountant's point of view. When you're accessing a QBO client that's in the classic QuickBooks Online from QBOA or QuickBooks Online Accountant. When I click on Joe's Landscaping, it's going to be much different. So here I'm brought into the new view that you guys just saw when I was in the Craig's Landscaping file, showing the different tools and things. I have all the features that my client has. I have all the tools that even my older QuickBooks Online clients have, but where are they? And you notice there's no real Accountant Center. I'm actually just brought to the Accountant Home. And I can set the date range for my reports and tools. So when I launch them, they all open to, this calendar year to date or last quarter or what have you. I can look at the reconciliation status of my accounts and quickly drill in to the reconciliation to complete that. Okay, similar window you just saw going from QBOA to QuickBooks Online Classic client. It's going to bring me here when I'm launching from the Accountant Home. Okay. Now, what about the accountant tools? Where would you guess those are housed now? If we know that, the typical transactions and tools are under the Quick Create, exactly, the gear icon. So when you click to the right of the company file name, you click on the gear icon, and then there's a list, accountant, classified transactions, voided deleted transactions, etc. Okay, even new window. So all your accountant tools are listed here, as well as if you need to get to the chart of accounts, it's under the gear icon. Okay, if you need to do a reconciliation, it's under the gear icon. Okay, and manage users and of course your preferences, company settings. Important to know from an accountant because I know you guys are in and out of those windows as well. And you're going to be coming from a QuickBooks Online Classic view, right? So when you're looking for your tools under the gear icon, quick transactions are under the Quick Create button, and all the other tools and features are going to be there, including everything under the left navigation panel. It's important to note that under the Accountant menu, there is a Book to Tax, which, because QuickBooks Online Accountant does integrate with Intuit Tax Online, you can go ahead and map the account balances to the appropriate fields and then generate the return in Intuit Tax Online just by clicking the Book to Tax. Okay. So those are the big differences between QuickBooks Online Classic and QuickBooks Online New, and also from the perspective of an accountant accessing both of your QuickBooks Online type clients, at least for now, until everybody's new, right? You're going to have clients that are both on QuickBooks Online Classic and QuickBooks Online New. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful. You have a great day.